But it really is. I mean, those are wooden planks.
Mm-hmm.
Those are wooden planks and maybe a half inch to an inch of foam pad, and then of course it gives. It does give. So the combination of the inch pad and the give, but still, that's if you think about it, the impact is still going to be there. It's not easy. It's not like you want to hit it. Trust me. When I learned how to wrestle, dude, when I took my first bump, I was like, oh shit, what the fuck did I just get into? Seriously. And then I would actually, when I was training, I would think to myself, how many bumps do I actually have to take in a match? It's like, really? Like, seriously, like you were thinking of how many things, like how many times I don't want to do that because it does hurt. Every bump hurts. People don't understand that. And that's why I wish like the business in some way would get a little bit more credit, or fans would, because those bumps do hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They do
No,
hurt.
and one of the things I don't like is the fickle fans and things like that. Like going back, because I don't remember if we talked about the Jericho thing too much on this, but with Jericho falling and stuff like that, besides the camera work, one, I would never tell him to fall, but I'm not gonna be too picky about it because that dude, he just fell and he's 50 years old at this point.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to sign up for that. And they're like, oh well, it looked terrible.
I wouldn't want to do that.
I'm not
I
doing a
wouldn't want to
trust
do
fall off of
that.
that off a 10-foot
No,
building.
me neither. But the whole thing is like he has to understand, or people have to understand that you think he may or may not. But what if he doesn't land right in the sweet spot? Right? Think about that.
Yeah.
He may not. He may land short or too far. What if that happens? Kill himself.
He
So it's. I give him credit no matter what. You know,
just the camera work hurt it on that.
that's
He
what
actually
hurt it. Yeah.
he actually talked about it after. Like he actually got hurt, well, kind of. He got the wind knocked out of him after he landed
Oh, I'm
because it
sure it
wasn't as
did. Yeah.
protected as he thought it would be.
Yep.
Um,
Guaranteed.
yeah, I wouldn't do it. And like the only criticism I try to stick to with if I'm going to criticize a wrestling match by any means is whether or not there's a botch, because at that point you could potentially hurt themselves, or some of the things might not make sense. I try to stick to that. I'm not going to.
Right.
If you don't pull out a 450 splash, I'm not giving you crap for it. I couldn't
Right.
pull off a 450, so why am I going to give that to anybody, against anybody?
Right. No, I
And
agree. I agree.
and one of the funniest, I'm not trying to pick on wrestling fans, but one of the funniest things I hear is like you see a guy that, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but it's completely out of shape, and it's just like, oh well, man, blank looks fat. Okay, well, we're human. That happens. Like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, there's if
Yeah.
someone has a good physique, yeah, talk positively about it. But at the same time, it's like, don't crap on it and say
Don't
like,
crap on it. Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah,
hear. I agree. I agree 100%. Because there's so much negativity. We don't need negativity, dude.
no,
If we really truly care about this business, let's just help bring it up. I'm
yeah,
always very cautious. Like, even when I criticize something as maybe not something I dig, but I'll explain, like, try to explain, at least in my opinion. And it's just a humble opinion why. But it's not like the end of the world, where I think there's people online, man. We have this, and it's something, if we really think about it, the history of being online, right, and of talking shit online, it gives you some kind of anonymity, and you feel cool doing it because nobody could really confront you. Like, they could say something to you, but then you could just simply block them, right?
right,
Super cool. Like, that's kind of a coward's way out, right?
yeah,
If you're going to be able to dish it out, at least be around for the conversation. I'm not saying we have to argue and call each other names, but have a discussion. Like, you can't have a real discussion on something, with a couple of characters. So it's like it's a cheap way out. So I hate that kind of thing.
I just never understood it. And like what you said, I rather discuss around things that get to a point of like, okay, we can agree on something, then space out from there. So like say for the wrestling thing, was the AEW camera work bad? Yes. Okay. Well, here's something else I disagree with. And go from there. But if you, as long as they have the common ground and you kind of stick to more of the positive aspect of it, it will be completely fine. Criticize the camera work. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, and I think with AEW too, it's gonna take a while. I mean, this is a, you know their first real effort. Even though they've been around for a minute, not that long, so it's going to take a while. So just people
And
must understand it's going to take a minute for everybody to kind of understand what it is and appreciate it, and just kind of be patient. Like we shouldn't just expect so much instant gratification. Like we're lucky to have AEW. Be around
right.
for it, and try to promote it and be positive about it, not just shit on it.
Yeah, yeah, and the majority of AEW's life has been during this pandemic, so it's not like it's a normal wrestling promotion that came up and could
Right.
work with fans and base a
Yes.
lot of their actions off of that.
Yeah, and that hurts. That hurts. I mean, it's the most weird. It's the weirdest thing, and I've wrestled during the pandemic where you're wrestling in front of no fans. Even though I don't have a huge amount of experience, I have done it, and it is polarizing. It feels like I'm at wrestling school because I have no adrenaline. When I go out there, whether it's 100 fans or 1,000 or 10,000 fans, fans give you adrenaline. You're playing to the audience. It's like a play, right? I'm playing to the crowd. It's like Shakespeare. And even in WWE in the 90s, we used to all call certain spots, do the Shakespeare thing. Shakespeare meaning oversell it or sell.
Right. Okay.
Do the Shakespeare. That's what we would call it. And we would, and without wrestling fans there, you don't have that. So it becomes a little more. We have to reach deeper inside ourselves to kind of figure it out. So it's just like it's a growing process. I think fans need to be more. We all need to just kind of like accept what it is. Things are going to get back to normal. Obviously, now I've heard AEW is going back to full crowds in
And they're going
some
on the road.
places. That's awesome. I can't wait. I think that's going to do amazing things because, dude, let me tell you something. I could not have done half of my career if there was not a lot of people in those crowds, especially in ECW. Because crowds like going crazy make you do crazy things. And without a crowd, you're like, it's just me, this other wrestler, a referee, and a cameraman. Oh, it's going to hurt. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're doing porn.
Right.
Think about it. Porn. It's two people and a cameraman, and you're two people in a ring and a cameraman and a referee. Feels like porn, dude. I know it sounds gay. It sounds crazy.
It sounds so funny because at the same time you can't even make the argument because everyone's half dressed too.
But it's so true because the crowd is what makes wrestlers do amazing things, because they also tell us like, yay, boo, no, we don't like this, or if we're boring, they'll chant boring, or if we're hot, they'll fucking be cheering us. So we know to kind of give more or give less. Do you understand? Like, you know what I'm saying?
The whole dynamic of the WrestleMania between Rock and Hogan would have been completely different if the crowd was there.
You can't even do in that, but that you can't have wrestling without the crowd. So everybody's done the best they can. But once it gets back to normal, I'm hopeful that things will be better, and I think they will. I 100% think they will. No, they will.
Yeah, it will definitely get there, and I think it would kind of help a lot of what they got going on. This is relative to the more recent AEW. What do you think about Miro becoming TNT champion?
I think it's awesome. I'm finally glad to see Miro become who I think, or who I wanted to see, is that aggressive guy with all the ability. So I thought it was cool. I thought the match was great. I thought Darby Allin did a great job. They both did a great job. So I'm excited for the future for those guys, especially Miro. It's well done.
Yeah. I was glad to see it. I just thought something else with Darby. They did this last week. I did not like them throwing Darby down the cement stairs last week.
Yeah, that was a bit. Yeah,
that to me seemed too risky.
Yeah, that could easily go wrong. I mean, I get it. He's a kid. He's a kid. He wants to do it. But he's doing the Mick Foley. He's doing the I'm getting my legacy now thing. So I can't shit on him for doing it because he's just trying to make his moments, right?
Right.
But it is risky. So it could be but those moments are uncomfortable. So and as wrestling fans, we've got to sometimes, because I've been on both ends, right? You gotta kind of say, well, hey, we'll see how this works out. But yeah, it was a bit uncomfortable. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. But anyway, so going back to with Blood and Guts, we had talked about the ring and the ropes and cables and whatnot. So did WWE really completely change to just the cables, or they use the ropes every now and then?
From what I understand and from what I see, it's almost like, and I could be wrong, but I've kept an eye on it, and I did watch the recent episode of WWE Backlash, the pay per view, and it looks like they have a cable setup, but it's a lot looser than an AEW. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
still cable, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still lighter. But you
Right.
say best of both worlds. The only way I can describe it, it's the best of both worlds, where you could still do walking aerial stuff on it.
Right.
Um, but it's not as strict like plywoodish almost, like where
Right.
there's no give. Gives about a foot. So they found a happy medium to that. But it is cable. It is not traditional rope, from what I understand that the boys have told me.
Now, was it rope when you were there in 2001 to like 2007, or was it the cables at that point?
2001, it was rope, still traditional rope. And then they changed over, I believe, when we went to did the fake ECW in
Mm-hmm.
2005, the first one night stand. And then after the second one night stand, when we took it to our own TV show, they were old school ECW rings.
Mm-hmm.
Different, the same design. Obviously, they were newer rings, but same exact design, which was full on cable.
Mm. Oh, you're talking about the one night stand and everything. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
Um. Did you ever put rings up at all
Oh
between any
yeah,
company?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
So, okay, you were talking about before how it was almost impossible for that thing to break off. The thing that basically Sammy almost landed on, would that do a lot of damage if he landed on it or even got hit by it?
When he fell,
Yeah.
that could have hurt him big time because those aren't going anywhere.
Uh,
Those are just. I mean, if you can imagine, just there's a straight up wire,
mm,
is pulled as tight as can be, and then they take hose, like just a regular hose, and put the wire through it, so it's
uh,
padded in that way, and then they tape it. That's basically what it's always been.
no, no, no. I
Yeah.
mean the part that holds the rope to the turnbuckle, that big metal piece. You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
you mean the actual turnbuckle?
Yeah, the big metal piece that goes to the turnbuckle. I've seen videos where people like twist it to tighten the ropes to the
Yeah,
turnbuckle.
that's actually the turnbuckle. That's what that metal piece is called.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There's two screws with holes that you, and then the turnbuckles themselves are hooks. So you hook
Mm-hmm.
it onto the post, and
Mm-hmm.
you hook it onto, there's another circle that joins it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing a very good job of describing it. That connects to each side, and then you just tape. You just tape it up, and then you put the turnbuckle pad
Mm-hmm.
on top of that.
One thing I will say I like about AEW's presentation with the turnbuckle pad because it's kind of like old WCW, like that leather style, as opposed
Yes,
to that very material looking that
yes,
WWE
yes.
has.
I like the aesthetics and stuff, but it's a little harder as far as baby oil and
Mm-hmm.
water, sweat, and any kind of moisture makes that stuff, including the material they use to tape it up, which is a lot of times usually electrical tape.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it very slippery. So turnbuckle padding, with the way WWE did it back in the old days with the cloth,
Right.
made it safer as far as slipping goes.
Oh, okay. So
You see what
that's
I'm saying?
yeah. So like last year at Double or Nothing, Max Seidel almost fell because of that
Yeah.
outside humidity.
Yep.
So the reason WWE doesn't do that is because it helps against slipping.
I just probably not a deterrent. I don't know if they, that's what they'd all use, but I would think so because those other ones, and ECW also used cloth, but
Really?
the other, that shiny vinyl esque material, yeah, it's very slippery, very
Yeah.
slippery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mainly remember from the old Nitro days because
Yep.
I've
Yep.
said plenty of times before. I was mainly a WCW viewer
Oh,
for
really?
yeah, yeah, and then the early '90s, yeah. So I shared it on the podcast before, and me and the Mark talked about it a few times. My mom was super against WWE
Okay.
because of Austin and things like that, right?
Yeah. 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 Sure.
WCW was a little safer in that
Yep.
point. and I want to say it was either 99 or 2000. I tried to convince my mom to let me watch it,